Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited. We were just chatting before I started recording, and Sasha reminded me I should start recording because it was important information. So, we're talking about we have an epidemic of people that are just feeling not optimal. We're suffering with symptoms of exhaustion, anxiety, depression, um, stubborn fat loss, struggles with weight loss in general, very low energy, and stress patterns that are affecting people's lives um, by preventing them from fully being enjoying life. And quite frankly, this is all can be pinned down to toxic elements. So sometimes we have heavy metals, we have chemicals and pesticides and herbicides in our foods, in our environment, in our water, in our personal care products. And all these things are being built up in our body and it's an overload that the body is meant to detox and is designed to get rid of these things. But for a couple reasons, we're not able to do that. One is because we're mineral imbalanced and we don't have cellular energy because our minerals, okay, are the spark plugs of life. Without spark plugs, without energy, it gets sequestered in the body, these toxic elements and this overload of heavy metals and chemicals in our environment. We don't have the energy to get rid of it and process it. Everybody has very slow working adrenals. So what happens is we start building it up in our fat cells, and that's one reason why we can't lose weight, because the body's so intelligent that it won't release that fat because it's going to release that toxicity into the body. Two, we don't have the cellular energy to actually move it. So it gets sequestered in the fat cells, sequestered in the liver, sequestered in the brain. And again, we don't have to get it. We're not going to get into details about the exact toxic elements that I'm talking about, but naming even minerals such as copper and iron that are actually, trace minerals that we need in excess become toxic. And the information we're going to talk about today by detoxifying your home and your personal care products is one of the most important topics to talk about because we can't control everything, but we're going to talk about today some of the things that are under control. And my vision and my desire is to see everybody get mineral balanced and to reduce toxicity, at least what's in their control, especially women that are going to be having babies, allowing a few years of just detoxifying their bodies before they pass on those imbalances and toxic elements to the baby in utero, which ends up, we have this now epidemic. I mean, you would think a baby would be born without any problems, but we are seeing heavy loads of toxicity in young babies, infants that are struggling with eczema, allergies, actual stress responses of freezing, tantrums. And it's really it's devastating. It's so sad, but we're here to, we have a mission that we want to help people by leading them to the information. And my goal is that you're going to be curious enough to continue to search and continue to grow. So we have some questions that came in today for Sasha, but let me just introduce Sasha. And Sasha, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what your passion is?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sasha Wyman. I'm a graduate of the University of Florida and a wellness coach. I'm also a student at the Nutritional Therapy Association, so I will be a nutritional therapy practitioner come September. I focus on helping people reduce their toxic loads, making healthier choices, and creating a lifestyle that supports long-term wellness. Through my home and lifestyle wellness coaching, I guide people in assessing the products they use daily, whether that's food, skincare, cleaning supplies, or even the air and water in your homes. And my goal is to educate and empower you to make informed decisions that truly support your health.
Amazing. And I love that word empower because we do have the power. We really do. I mean, this is so important. And you know what it is, Sasha? I feel like a lot of people are unaware because they go to the food store, right? They go to Costco or they go to anywhere and they either they just buy things that maybe look familiar because they've been so overly advertised that they assume that that's the product to buy. Like, for example, I think of Tide, laundry detergent. And a lot of people might just say, "What are you talking about? Like Tide? Like what is that going to do to my clothes or what is that going to do to my body as far as toxicity?" So number one, people are busy in their lives with their careers, with their families, and they don't have the time to reason. They're just assuming that, hey, this is the most, promoted product. It must be good. Or they also see on the label, no, like natural or like
Greenwashing and clean washing is a huge problem nowadays.
yeah. So people are like they're thinking, well, oh, I buy. I'm trying to think of a product like Method, right? Like those sprays, those cleaners. Oh, I buy
Urban
Method. That's
Federation does it too.
yeah. And so we're really being it's trickery and we have to navigate differently, just like we have to navigate everything differently when we go to the doctor and be our own doctor and ask questions. We have to question these products and what the ingredients are. So first of all, one of the questions, maybe we could start with that. This first question is why should people be concerned about the products that they use daily, Sasha?
So most people think like just because they use it every once in a while, it's not a big deal. But once you realize how many toxins are in every product that you use on a daily basis, your body can't handle that toxic overload and it manifests in different ways. So, most conventional products contain chemicals that disrupt hormones, contribute to inflammation, and affect long-term health. Many of these chemicals are unregulated and under-researched, yet they're in products we use every single day. From skincare and makeup to laundry detergents and candles, it's in everything. For example, endocrine disruptors like parabens and phthalates are found in almost all personal care products and plastics, and these chemicals are scientifically proven to interfere with hormone function. Synthetic fragrances, which are pretty much everywhere you look, even in hallways at the gym, are contain hundreds of undisclosed chemicals. They are known to produce allergies and irritate the skin, and yet they're still unregulated. PFAs are literally called forever chemicals because they don't leave your body, and they're in almost all nonstick cookware, waterproof clothing, and all most common skincare brands have them in all of their products. Because these exposures accumulate, the key isn't perfection, it's reducing the toxic loads where you can. So knowledge is definitely power.
Yeah, I believe that knowledge is power. And what I mean, when you say endocrine disruption, I understand what you mean because endocrine system is our hormones.
Mhm.
It's almost fair to say, which I've said before, and I wrote a blog many years ago about this, how are your cleaning products making you fat? Or are your cleaning products making you fat? And the truth is, yeah, they are because they could be disrupting these hormones that are responsible for healthy metabolic function. So, what are some of the biggest hidden sources of toxins in everyday life, Sasha, and how can we navigate that?
So drinking water, a lot of people still drink tap water, bathe in tap water, brush their teeth in tap water, and tap water contains chlorine, heavy metals, pesticides, and even pharmaceutical drugs. High quality water filters are essential. That's usually what I tell my clients to start with. Water, air, and food, your most three prominent things.
Mhm.
Household cleaners, like we talked about a little bit, including laundry detergents and stuff like that, they contain volatile organic compounds that also contribute to indoor air pollution. So not only are you absorbing these chemicals through your skin, but you're inhaling them. Nonstick cookware is a huge source. Personal care products, like I mentioned earlier, they are unregulated in terms of ingredients, and just because the EWG verifies it doesn't always mean it's safe.
Mm.
And then clothing and furniture is a huge one that most people don't realize. There are flame retardants and wrinkle resistant coatings, stain proofing treatments in both furniture and fabrics, and they can off gas really toxic chemicals that you are inhaling 24/7.
So, where do we start? Like, what would somebody do? Because this is kind of daunting. this seems a little bit overwhelming and I'm
It can
scared.
be very overwhelming at first. So we like to start small. We like to implement the easier changes to begin with, and then you'll feel more empowered and it'll make it easier the more you go. So I like to tell people to start with a solid water filter, proper air filter. House plants are a great air filtration source. Food, obviously, we talked about the different definitions of healthy food. Healthy means different things to different people, but getting a little bit of knowledge on what really is healthy, ancestral diets, not cutting out you don't have to cut out sugar, just incorporate more whole foods. Everybody
Right.
is different, but starting at the basics is really what I recommend. And then as you do that, then we start getting into more personal care products, plastic containers, swapping them for glass. It gets easier and easier. And my best recommendation is to finish what you have and then upgrade when you replace the product. Don't just keep buying the same thing that you've been buying just because you think that it's okay. Do your research and get better products when you finish. You don't need to throw away your whole cabinet, but upgrade as you finish.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. I slowly over the years got rid of like Tupperware plastic containers and they're pretty cheap too. Like at Costco they sell the Pyrex glass and I have all glass containers now. In fact, another thing that I've done is because I buy a lot of things in glass, I will when I'm done with it, I'll put it in the dishwasher and use that glass jar for different storage and even as a cup glass to drink from.
Very easy to repurpose glass, and it's durable. It lasts for years where your plastic is going to crack after a year or so.
And
And
it's
it,
leaching too, like
oh yeah.
into our food. So
Mhm.
that's why we don't want to use plastic, right? Like because of those plastic chemicals, the particles are getting into the food, especially if you heat your food in plastic. That's something that's a big no-no, right?
And fats, high fat substances like oils and peanut butters. You never want to get those in plastic because they leach heavier when it's a high fat product. So
Okay.
if you're buying olive oil in bulk from Costco, try to opt for the glass option. And if you can't afford the glass option, then just put it into glass when you get home. There are
Okay.
easy ways to lessen the toxin exposure, even if you can't go all the way.
Are there any apps that you recommend that people can use? So, like,
Yeah.
if we go into the food store, I want to find out because, I can read, sometimes we read the label and we see obvious things like vegetable oil. I know to avoid that. I know to avoid canola, soybean, grapeseed, all those toxic processed chemicals that are in my food. So if I look at the label, I can visually see that, but sometimes they like kind of hide things in natural flavors or like getting shampoo, like again, or soap. It's like, wait, it says that it's natural. Like how do we
So
find
I'm going to share two things in the chat right now. The first thing is my clean product guide that has a lot of different options in a lot of different areas for products that I have approved. And then
okay.
the second link is going to be the Switch Natural app. So this is an app that was created by a mother who learned about all of the different toxins in our world and got really passionate and started researching all of these ingredients. So she has a database where you take a picture of any ingredients list, and it's an unlimited app. So any ingredients list of skincare or cleaning products, and you run it through the system and it'll come back with which ingredients are not considered safe, and then it will link you to studies of why they are not considered safe. You can also shop on her Dolly for products that I don't have on my document, and sometimes she includes discount links and stuff like that too, so it's definitely an affordable option. In terms of food products, I like the Bobby approved app.
Uh-huh.
I don't like the Yuka app. A lot of
Okay.
the food apps are kind of difficult to be a one-stop shop essentially
Mhm.
because they take into account different factors and they're not personalizing it to you. So, for example, the Yuka app will rate grass-fed meat lower than a seed oil product, and that doesn't make any sense to me. So,
Oh,
my recommendation for food is if you don't know an ingredient, it's probably not good for you. And that is hard to live by. I get that. I totally get that. So do your best. Prioritize whole food products. And
Okay.
if you can read an ingredients list and you know everything on it, try to avoid vegetable oil and all other seed oils. But when you know what the ingredients are, that's a good sign. So,
So like with the Switch Natural app,
mhm.
that's going to be you could take a picture of, say, if I'm buying a shampoo, I
Yep.
just take a picture of the ingredients and I upload it or whatever to that app, and then it'll come back like a yes or a no or what's
It'll
toxic.
come up with the toxic ingredients listed, and then you can select each ingredient to be taken to studies that'll explain why they are not optimal for your health. And
Okay.
it's a much more comprehensive list than the EWG,
Okay.
than any other app that I've ever seen. I love it. And so it's 19.99. It's a one-time fee, but the woman who created it, she will literally, you can send her a screenshot in her Instagram DMs of an ingredients list, and she will scan it for you for free. So I love to
I
support
want to
people
support, yeah, I want to
do
support
stuff
that.
like that. I think that's amazing. It took me a couple months to buy the app, but it is worth so much more than 19.99 in my opinion.
I'm gonna get that. I had Renee, our friend Renee, look up something for me. She bought the app. She goes,
Perfect.
"Wait, I have Sasha's app." So also your document, Sasha, has like specific products that you're sharing
Yes.
with us. Okay,
So
that's great. That is on your website too.
almost everything on my document, oh, I'll send my website as well. Almost everything on my document has, I've tried. I try not to put stuff on there that I haven't tried. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I have done an extensive amount of research myself. I use the Switch Natural app to confirm essentially. And I've tried all different types of products. So if I've tried a brand and I haven't loved it, I don't put it on the document. So if you have any specific recommendations or questions, don't hesitate to reach out. But yes, it's pretty comprehensive.
And how can I mean we're not done with the conversation, but how do people reach you?
So it's actually on my both my document and my website, which I'm sending right now. But my Instagram is also at Sasha's Natural. You can DM me on there. You can email me at sashasnatural@gmail.com, which I will also send in the chat.
Okay,
I'm
perfect. At
reachable.
Sasha's Natural, Instagram is great. And I know that Sasha has such great resources, so you can take advantage of that. I would say just to insert about the Bobby Approve app. I mean, because some people really
If you
don't want
need an
to
app,
read the
that is
label, like they want to
is
just scan it. And Bobby's pretty tough.
he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. So if I scan an app, a product, and it says not approved, it like highlights why, and it might just be one thing. It might be natural flavors.
Yes. So
And
natural flavors are a tough one.
yeah,
I buy certain products with natural flavors, but only if I will always reach out to the brand or the person who created the product, and I will say, I need details on these natural flavors. Please explain. If they don't respond to me or tell me they can't tell me, I will never buy that product. If they give me,
I
like,
love
for
this.
example, Santa Cruz Medicinals, he's got electrolytes, he's got all sorts of stuff, protein powders, stuff like that. And I've reached out to him multiple times. I'm like, what are your natural flavors? And they use coconut oil to extract the flavor from vanilla and cacao, stuff like that. So he's like,
Mhm.
I could put vanilla and cacao, but I feel like that's wrong because they're extracted flavors. And so that makes sense to me. So
Yeah.
I would buy from his brand. But certain, like I've reached out to certain people who tell me it's a proprietary blend that we can't disclose. That is a huge no.
So this is where working with you, Sasha, it would be so valuable because a
Yes.
lot of people don't have time for this. You're passionate about it, so it really you get excited to do this and you want to keep learning and it's part of the field you're getting into and you're in. So how amazing. I mean, this would be you would be kind of like almost helping people with the cliff notes, like they don't like here
Yeah,
buy
you
products.
essentially skip a lot of steps by working with me.
I mean
And
like years.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Years, time, effort, money, all of it. I really cut through the noise and explained to you. And the goal by the end of it is for you to be able to do it all on your own. So the goal with an app like Bobby Approved is you learn on
Right.
what comes back, like what's not great for you. And then over time, you don't need the app anymore. And that's like a really amazing feeling. And it really empowers you to take control of your health.
I love it. And we have to worry about, I think these are two great apps, the Switch Natural and the Bobby Approved. So the Bobby Approved is free. The Switch Natural you pay for, but it's well worth it. And with those two, that's going to really empower us with going to the food store, picking our products, because it can be daunting. I've been doing this for like decades, and it's sometimes I hit a wall and I have to reach out to Sasha because she's actually really specialized in this. So I love that. What got you, this is a personal question, Sasha, but I know what started your journey into this, like really paying attention to the ingredients and whole food eating. Can you?
So when I was in college, I came off of hormonal birth control that I had been on since probably like the very start of puberty. And I had an insane hormonal storm as a reaction. I went from about 120 pounds to 85 pounds, covered in cystic acne, and I could no longer eat. And eating is like my favorite thing to do. I had to force food down. So once you go down the rabbit hole, you don't come out. I started researching on what could be contributing to the symptoms that I was experiencing. And once I realized all of the different things that I have explained on this call, I really was overwhelmed. It was probably a 2-year learning process, and I'm obviously still learning. I would love to continue learning for the rest of my life. But it really opened my eyes to research and informed consent. Like in America, there's like no informed consent. You have no idea what you're putting in your body. You have no idea what you're absorbing, and it's really sad. And I was actually pre-med, and then after my whole experience and going to all these Western medicine doctors and being told, I don't know, your labs are normal, I really decided against it. So that is why I'm in nutritional therapy school. That is why I do what I do today to make sure that that doesn't happen to anyone I love, because it was really miserable and
And
really,
yeah,
really,
you're also years of birth control, which is very common nowadays, and this is why we have an epidemic, by the way, of copper toxicity.
oh yeah.
Sasha did hair testing and she knows, and this has been part of her journey too, but she couldn't, listen, this is what I say to people too. It's like you want a hair test and get on the right supplements, but unless you change the way you eat, the toxins in your house, the toxins in your personal care, and then talking about the food too, just real quick to say non-GMO or organic. Like how important
Non-GMO and
is
organic are so important. There are multiple studies that show that eating organic for just a week reduces the pesticide load in your body by 30% or some crazy number like that. We are this world is so chemical laden that you have to make the choice to avoid it wherever possible. And that's to say that not all organic is pesticide free, but
that's
it
right.
has less and less harmful. So I feel like that is one step that if you can afford it, it is so worth it.
You can even do the non-GMO. I mean, like, and there are, I don't know how you feel about the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 that is on environmentalworkinggroup.org.
Yeah. So they say stuff like that, but it really comes down to the exposure, like what is happening during transit of that to
Right.
the grocery store. Like you really just have no idea. And that is why I always say try to get local.
That's
Farmers market. Know
awesome.
your farmer. That is the easiest way to reduce your toxin load from food is to know your farmer. Go to the butcher, go to farmers markets. There are ways to avoid
Well,
this.
that's so interesting because one of the things that I promote and I stress as an importance is to eat with the season. And you
Yes.
kind of eat with the season if you're eating local because if it's not growing local, you're not going to be eating it that season.
So
So
that's super important. However, when it's from the grocery store, that's kind of negated because it's like that orange that you bought. was probably picked multiple months ago.
That's
So it
right.
doesn't matter if it's in season now, it wasn't in season when it was picked. So it's
Right,
that is why
right.
absolutely eating seasonally from farmers
Locally.
markets from local areas is amazing.
Well, they have like they're called CSA. I forget what that stands for. CSA, look it up. It's in agriculture. I think it's community something agriculture.
Okay.
But local farms, and local meaning like within a, like I can get a CSA in Pennsylvania or you know in New Jersey as well, but it doesn't have to be like a minute away. I mean, it could be
Yes.
in an
Yeah.
hour or two of where you live.
Yeah.
But the CSA is you pay a certain amount of money and you get local delivery every
Ooh,
week or two. Oh
that
yeah.
is awesome.
Oh
I did.
yeah. And you get boxed whatever's in season. So like you pay a certain amount of money. It's actually very reasonable and you're supporting local farms. You go with an
Community
organic.
supported agriculture
Yes,
system.
community supported agriculture. I've done CSAs. It's fantastic. And
Nice.
that'll be like, oh, okay, so this is what I got delivered this week. Beets, russet potatoes,
Awesome.
onions, whatever is in season, and then you arrange your how you eat around that. So yeah, this is great. I mean, I let me just see if there's any other questions that we didn't get to. So basically we kind of covered this, right? What would you say to someone who already eats healthy but hasn't considered toxic exposure elsewhere?
So while eating healthy is a huge step in the right direction, food is only part of the equation. If you
Mm,
fuel your body with nutrient-dense foods, but still breathe in chemicals, drink contaminated water, or absorb toxins through your skin 24/7, your body is still constantly working to detox. So a clean diet is a strong foundation and super important, but reducing environmental toxins can take your health to the next level. Even
mhm.
simple swaps like switching to a non-toxic deodorant, filtering your water, or replacing synthetic candles with beeswax can make a huge difference in reducing your body's toxic burden.
Excellent. So we already went over this too, but what are the first steps to take for a less toxic lifestyle? And I think we said starting to download those two apps
Water,
along with
air,
our water. And with
food.
our Sasha, do you have like specific inexpensive air purifiers or water filters that people can start with if they don't want to like go into a full house?
So
Filter?
air filtration, you want to look for a HEPA filter. That
Okay.
is the most important. You can get the expensive, amazing filters. I don't have an expensive, amazing filter yet. Would love to save up for one, but right now I have a HEPA filter from Target.
Okay.
Um, as far as water, it's a little bit more tough. So I have a reverse osmosis filter. Uh, yeah, it's like a system, a countertop system. The most inexpensive way to filter your water is under sink filtration. I wish my father would do that. Um, beggars can't be
Well,
choosers. So I have an over-the-top counter filter. It really depends on what you're looking for. I have recommendations for pitchers, over the top, under sink, and I believe all of that is in my document. Some of
okay.
them have links to discounts and some do not. So I have an AquaTrue reverse osmosis filter, which
Okay.
I really like because it's the safest way to filter your water. And I've heard little rumors that they're like going to start recycling sewage water. I don't think in New Jersey, but that's that's a major issue, and you would need a reverse osmosis filter for
So
that.
let me just pay one comment with reverse osmosis or distilled water. They are completely void then of
Yes.
minerals. So
So
we
you
need
do have
to
to add
mineralize
minerals.
it. There is, and I'm saying this because this is something everybody can do. Of course, I want to hair test you and I want to make your minerals very personalized, but there's something called Beam Minerals, BEAM. I don't have an affiliation with them. I don't have a link to share, but Beam Minerals can be added to the water. They don't taste like anything, and they're a really good quality of humic fulvic and electrolytes. They're in smaller like trace elements. Again, like I like to test people, not guess, but we need that mineralization in the water. So I am happy to say I'm excited because I have a pristine hydro under my
No.
drinking water. So pristine hydro does it filters, it restructures, it remineralizes. So it does all of that, and they are more expensive. We are going to have somebody come and talk next week about a water filter, actually whole house water filter. They're going to come, they can come to your house and do a free water test. And then based on your budget, you can kind of pick from there. Another one that and I like the aqua what's it called?
Aqua True.
Aqua True, yeah, and then also something like Life Straw
Life Straw has a glass pitcher that I
has a
recommend
glass
to some
pitcher,
people.
yeah,
It's probably the cheapest option, but if
yep,
your water is super, super contaminated, that's not the most ideal option.
I
But
see.
if you have a very
It's
small
something.
budget, like my college sisters, that's what they have.
Yeah, and you know what? It really there's some good studies on the website, so even at just putting right tap water in there, it can be a great choice to kind
Something
of
is
get you
better than nothing.
started, you need to be able to do something. So this
Absolutely.
has been amazing. I think that this conversation is so important, because it's everything, right? Like our health is everything. And I have some, I just want to give this quick testimonial with somebody that I'm working with her son who was diagnosed with autism and he was struggling with tantrums and self-harm and very hyperactive. And mom didn't know. She didn't. She really wanted to help her son. And she came to me because she had been referred to me for a hair test to see what toxic elements were in her son that were causing some of his symptoms, but she didn't even put it together that she had to look at the laundry detergent, that she had to look at the water that she was bathing him in every night, that oh, I can get you because you can get a filter, Sasha, just for the shower or for
Yes,
the
I there's so
tub.
many options. There's
There's so many options. It
shower
doesn't have
filters
to
for
cost a lot of money.
kids.
It doesn't have to be a fortune. We can always work up. We always have these dreams of, yeah, we want that, whole house water filter. We don't have to worry about anything. But, there's places to start. So she started there and it was, she did the apps and she started reading labels and she changed over things slowly but surely. And then combined with her son's right combination of supplements, and he was very limited with his diet too, like would only eat pasta and like certain things, but she was unaware, oh, I can get this at least organic. Like even if it's pasta, even at least I can buy organic. I can buy a candy that has organic sugar versus high fructose corn syrup.
Yes.
Long story short, he's doing fantastic and he's not having these break meltdowns and tantrums and it's all because of the toxins and we've getting rid of them so that load wasn't on his body. So this has been fantastic. I hope that people reach out to Sasha, reach out to me. We're here to help. We listen, this is what we love to do. We talk about this stuff
Truly.
all the time. All right, so everybody, thanks for joining.
Okay, wait, one question. So I
Yeah.
have well water. What could I start with?
Oh, thank you.
So there's many different options. If you want, I think that under the sink filter for where you're dispersing it is probably your best option. Just making sure that there's no contaminants in that water. And that is one of the cheapest options, like I mentioned. So Pristine Hydro is one brand, but there's many others. I like a brand called Clearly Filtered as well. I can send a link for that. Hold on.
Mhm. That's
Um,
an underwater. I have on my
they have all
bio.
different types.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
they
Because
have pitchers, they have under the sink, they even have fridge inline filters. So there's so many different options. You can really make sure that you can get what you need to get. And it's not as difficult as it seems. You just get it installed and you're good.
and Evan, this will be a good question for next week too, because Evan will be here and
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
water filter expert. So, we'll learn from him too. But this has been amazing. Anything else you want to add, Sasha? I think we've covered it.
I think we covered it. You can reach out to me on my Instagram at Sasha's Natural. You
Mhm.
can email me, sashasnatural@gmail.com. My website is sashasnaturalliving.com. Feel free to reach out.
All right.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Sasha.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
That was
much,
tons
Sasha.
of great info. That was awesome. I'm
Thank
overwhelmed,